I should do a little intro music, to be honest with you. What's the crack? Hey, what's the crack, YouTubers? Welcome to another hobby hangout. I think we're on to number 56 now, 56, 55. We've been doing it for quite a while. And then we've got Stevo on, our special guest, the big deal
Backup guest.
The big deal. We have
Like we've got Stevo on, our special guest.
Yeah, bollocks, you have the volume on. I can hear
It's
you.
gone. It's gone.
It's good. It's good. There's always technical problems. Thanks to Dread for reminding us. I'm enjoying a coffee, by the way. Thanks to Dread for reminding us that, you know, we needed to start our live hobby hangouts. Not that, you know, we're nearly always fashionably late to start these things. You know,
7 minutes is good for you, man. It's
thanks,
good.
Dread. Yeah, especially for me, like with the technical difficulties I have, 7 minutes is nothing. It's like, oh my God. So how you all?
This is relatively smooh.
What is the crack, folks? So
I've got a coffee as well, but my one's a cold one today.
Cold coffee.
Oh
man.
my God.
I haven't tried cold coffee. Is that any good? I've had like iced tea.
It is when it doesn't piss all over your hand. It's like imagine a coffee flavoured milkshake. That's the best way I can choose to describe it. But it's got all the caffeine and that in it.
I'd give it a bash.
It's like an energy drink that doesn't taste like shit.
Oh, it's super sugary.
Yeah. Oh, I imagine it. I'm pretty sure it is quite sugary.
I think I've tried a lot of those Monster drinks. The only one I've slightly liked, well, there's two of them. There's like a lemon flavoured one that I found is pretty nice, but I don't drink this stuff all the time. And then there's like a mango one that's really nice.
The best energy drinks are the ones where you taste it, you're like, oh, it doesn't actually taste like an energy drink. They're always the best ones, aren't they? But yeah, it's
volume.
Don't mind the occasional Red Bull once in a blue.
Give me a second.
Stevo is 3 times as loud.
No, maybe. No, I can't hear Stevo. Oh, there we go. There's always something. Give me a second. Hold on. I told you. Hold it. They can't hear you. They can't hear you. I know they can't hear you. Give me a second. Give me a second. They can't hear you. They can't hear you. Wait a second. Hold on. Whoop. Grots in the gubbins. Right. How's it sounding now? Bigger hammer.
Are we sounding all right now? There you go.
Is he still 3 times as loud as me? Well, this is going swimmingly. Slev, that's nothing new, man. If you've been here, you should know by now. Something always goes wrong on the technical front. How's the audio? Are we more sort of on the level, or is he still like 3 times louder than me?
Dread says it's better, but glitchy.
But glitchy? Stevo's still a lot louder. All right, give me a second. Hold on. I'll cam loudmouth down over there. How about now? Do you want to talk there, Steve?
Hello. Testing. What I could do, mate, if it's that much, I could just turn my mic down a little bit to save you.
I've got the controls on this side. It's all right. Audio is fine. All right, Grant. Happy days. Right. On to the stream. I have my wall banner knob. Now, I wanted to start putting a bit of primer, a bit of paint on this guy. But I'm at a bit of a conundrum. So I'm going to be painting him up. But there's his gun arm here. Are you messing around with your autofocus again?
Yeah, you carry on, mate. Don't mind me.
It's not just me. See,
I was hoping no one would notice. I reached over to get me fags, and I turned around like, oh, for fuck's sake. Just sorted the stand out. Now my focus is fucked.
So this is custom shit.
There we go.
I want to do something with this. I'm not happy with the way it is at the moment. It seems a bit far forward. Now, I don't know if he needs a buttstock, or I need to put a sling on it. Or I'm thinking maybe cut this bottom section off and then double up the guns and then recenter it. So there's gonna be some jiggery pokery with his gun in some form or another. I haven't decided yet. But until then, I'm gonna throw some black primer on this guy tonight, and then I'll ponder what to do with his shooter gun. There's gonna have to be something done to it. I just haven't decided what.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Like the underslung bit, it sort of drops a bit lower from where the handle is, isn't it? I see what you're saying.
Problem is, there's a lot of weight too far forward. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this started off as a slugger, or not?
You'd have
as
to have a strong wrist, wouldn't he, holding that fucker?
So I don't know if I need to do like something. Something needs to happen for it to look more balanced. It looks out of balance at the moment. So I haven't decided what to do with his shoot arm, but I will start priming him. That's what I'm going to be working on. What are you going to be working on, Stevo?
I am.
What's the crack
Now I'm
about
going to
it?
move. I'm going to move the light and everything, so it's probably
Oh,
going to
Jesus. It's going to go arseways
fuck
very
the
quickly.
autofocus a bit. But yeah, I'm working on this fella. So I've been working on him this evening. See, it looks purple now, his tongue. I showed it earlier, it looked blue. It is very purple, his mouth. It's not blue. But sometimes in the light it goes more blue. But yeah, I'm working on him, so I'm getting all the sort of organic parts of him done at the moment. Well, I've done just before we went on, I've been painting a bit of, that looks a bit yellow on camera there, my end, but it is like a leather colour, sort of leather strap there, hood. But yeah, I'm working on these sort of organic plating and stuff. So it's got a base coat of what's called a crusted saw. It's like a real dark, deep dark red.
Right. And you're painting army painter paints. Is that all your paints that you're using?
Yeah. So he's base coated. The skin is like it's called Angel Green, and it is exactly the same as GW's old school Dark Angel Green. So he's there, Dark Angel colours, like a dark base coat. These are just like the darkest colours. Basically, I'm going to be lightening these up, and he's going to go through a lot of more shading and dry brushing and washes and stuff. But yeah. And then the armour bit will be the same as the rest of my army, all the usual black, yellow, and gold on the top. So I'm kind of liking the direction he's going in at the moment. It's it's nice to be painting something different. I'm using a load of colours I've never used before, and it's just nice to paint skin that is different from all the other skin I'm always painting. So I've just pulled out a whole load of different greens. I've got Angel Green, Army Green, Scaly Hide, which just sounds perfect for this fella. So yeah, I've got a whole load of different greens to get a completely different skin tone to this guy from the rest of my fellas. So but yeah, I was going to do the scales all brown, and I still am, but I want to get so I've base coated them this dark red colour, but I'm going to be sort of dry brushing browns and beiges and stuff over, so get a sort of a tortoise shell kind of look with hints of red and stuff through it to get some colour in there. But yeah.
So you're looking for like multi-tone on the scales, is it? You were saying
something
about like dinosaurs being able to change this colours or flush.
Yeah, I've been in planning him, like deciding, because I was going to do his skin brown. Actually, I was going to make him like brown, like a sort of dinosaur sort of skin colours now. But I've been looking at pictures of dinosaurs, Stegosaurus and Ankylosaurus and stuff like this, some of the armoured dinosaurs. And I know, like, I was chatting about it this morning actually with Brack and Gear Guts. We were saying about how like dinosaurs, like they think now like things like Triceratops would like flush blood up through their frill and that, and it would come out in different colours, and they think they use it to attract a mate and stuff. So I was kind of thinking along them sort of lines. It's but yeah, looking at pictures of like wildlife, whenever you're painting anything organic, I think it's good to go and look at pictures of like lizards and tortoises and dinosaurs and I don't know, whatever, elephants, all kinds of things, to get an idea of different kind of colour schemes. You can go look at the natural world to sort of inspire you with things like that. But yeah, great excuse to do something completely different and use a whole load of paints I've never touched before. I mean, I've got them all in the mega set, so it's high time I started using a few more of them.
Well,
so
yeah,
I usually stick to the same like 20 odd paints, Yeah,
it's a cracking paint set. I got the missus that for Christmas, like, and she didn't know what to do with herself. There's that many paints in it. It's a cracking paint set. I haven't used the Army Painter paints myself, but I took on board your advice, and I was thinking, someone who's new into the hobby altogether, what to get them, and it looked good value. And you were saying, the pros and cons to the Army Painter paint set, but like it's looking good, man. It's looking good for those who aren't orky-ish, into orcs or stuff. Like, what is the miniature? Where did you get the miniature from? Where did you buy it?
Cromlech. He's called Norzilla. He's from Cromlech, and he's Cromlech's version of the Forge World Squigoth. He's about the same scale, a little bit larger. I think just a little touch larger, but he's very comparable in terms of scale. In my opinion, a superior miniature. Not everyone has the same opinion, because the Forge World one is a bloody lovely miniature too, and I've always loved that, and I always wanted that. When Cromlech brought this out, like, the October just gone, I was like, oh my god, they've actually made a better one. But the opinions divided on that. Dim did the Hobby Git did a great video comparing the two, a really in-depth review of them, and shared his thoughts, went deep dive into it, and I mean he showed all like how you could build your own and convert your own out of all different things, and it was really cool. But yeah,
Really good video, yeah. I watched the
yeah, really good video. I'd say the best video he's done, actually. A really very informative.
I'd agree with you there, because it was a very informative video. He liked different parts of both Squigots, and then he brought in the Gargantuan Squigot as well. And
it was a real good fair review.
Yeah.
He's sort of in very real good stuff. Like if you want to know anything about Squigoths and miniatures and what your options are and all the different options available to you and what the pros and cons of each one are, then check that video out. It's awesome. But yeah, for me personally, this Cromlech one, it's the sweet spot for me. I love him. He's just lovely. He's like a cross between a tortoise and a pit bull. And that's just awesome in my book.
What's the crack, folks? What's the crack? We had Poke saying he put some typhus corrosion in the eyes and teeth of his Zilla to make him look like a big dirty animal for painting. I look to reptiles of today. So he was doing the same sort of reference that you're doing, where you're looking at animals that are around today as reference, which is interesting, because the rest of your army isn't painted up really sort of natural colours, though, is it? It's more the traditional.
I don't have any. Well, I mean, I don't have any at hand that are finished, except for a little bomb squig, which is a lot more sort of not, it's very pink. It's not a very what you'd see running around in our land. I've got some orcs here, but I've got older Git Stomper here, but he is very wet looking at the moment because he's just had his wash and he's waiting for his highlights. But no, they're very old school looking orcs. They're a bit like your orcs are very muted tones, aren't they? Very sort of olivey kind of skin tones, and mine are, I don't know, they're a lot more sort of old school GW
like
looking.
Third edition sort of, that sort of dark.
Yeah, very much that sort of look to them. I quite like that look. But yeah, it's so with him, I just want to go for something. It's because it's a nice break, to paint something. I'm always painting, other than orc skin, I'm always painting like mechanical stuff and armor and gubbins and stuff. So it's really nice to get a big organic thing and paint something like that,
I suppose it's nice to have something that's part of your collection, but also breaks it up a bit. So it's not. I'd reckon like a few people probably get into start a second or a third army, a small force of it, for that same reason, where they're like, I've got thousands upon thousands of points of whatever army, I'm sick of painting them, I'll start another one just so I have something different to paint. So I can see how it could scratch that itch for you.
Definitely, and the thing that will tie it together will be the Haldor bit. That'll be all my usual color scheme of black, yellow, and gold. So all the non-organic parts on top that have been bolted to him will have like all the rusty bits and the gold bits and the yellow bits and stuff. So that will tie him in with the rest of the army. But yeah, he's bloody lovely. I love him. He's so cute. He's adorable. I need to give him a name.
You haven't thought of a name for him yet, no?
Not yet. It might be something like Princess or something. He's just he's awesome. Might even be a she. Who knows? I'll think on it, because I just think of like a little dog. I used to have a Staffy, and I've always loved like staffs and stuff. So do you like dags? And he's got like, just like I say, he's like a pit bull cross between a tortoise and it's the little short stumpy tail, and I can see his little bum wiggling when he's running all excitedly. And I think when the war boss comes round, he's going to be like an excited puppy and start like
around.
Yeah, he's going to wee on the door, Max. He gets a bit overexcited when the war boss comes home and stuff. He's going to be like,
"Who's a good boy?"
Yeah. If they want him to go at the enemy, they got to like throw a stick or something. He gets all excited and like just rampages towards the enemy. Like throw his squeaky ball or something,
Yeah, that's how you get him to charge. You throw a squeaky ball and he just goes mental.
The enemy are like, what the fuck are they throwing at us?
Imagine the Marine.
Be like rugby when someone throws you the ball. You're like, no, I don't want it.
Not me. Space Marines pick up like a giant squeaky Space Marine chew toy, and they're like, "What in the hell?" It's like, get him. Poke was saying it's why he does all the clans. He can't, so I can't switch it up all the time. So Poke was using the various clans to switch up the paint schemes, for painting up his army, which is a good idea as well.
Yeah, it keeps it interesting. Doesn't it? It keeps it interesting. Who is it? Drunken Orc does that as well, but he's sort of primarily Death Skulls, but I know he throws in lots of other little. He paints them all as different clans and stuff to keep the variety and keep it interesting.
I could, I've enough orc stuff at this point where, eventually, if I get a Blood Axe Force painted up, I could see painting up other stuff. Like this one here, I have to paint up as a Badmion. I think for anyone who's been watching us for a long time, I lost a bet with you a long time ago to paint up a Badmion. So it's, it takes me a while to get stuff done, but I get there eventually, lads. You know what I mean?
At least you're sticking to your end of the bargain, man. At least you're doing it.
It's only taken me, nearly a year and a half, 2 years?
Who knows?
Probably.
Who knows? By the time you finish painting him, you might go, do you know what? I've been wasting my life with these bloody
I
Batmaxes.
highly doubt
Get all this camo. Let's get the yellow paint. Let's get.
It might be yellow camouflage. You know what I mean? There might be
there
yellow camo going on. Trick all the Badmions. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see, because of a lot of the, I've bought in a lot of the Vallejo game color paints that I haven't really used, so it'll give me an excuse to use a lot of the yellows that they have and such, and try and paint them up that way, and see what way I want to approach it. But I enjoy making the WoW banner knob, so it's about time
Yeah, I want to see. I'm going to use this opportunity now to get the community to start badgering you, because you said the idea a while back. You obviously made your Blood Axe one. It looks really cool. And then you made the Bad Moon one. I just think you've started something now. You kind of need to make a WoW banner knob for every clan.
Yeah.
Just to it's a cool character miniature just to get into each one to get in, give you a great opportunity to get into not just with the painting but with the designing of it as well. To what is this clan all about? What's going to represent them best on the battlefield? And
well, that's
it's
that's
see what you've done with your
bad
one. You've got your grot there with all the ammo and stuff to represent all the Dakar, and it's it's very cool.
Well, that's the mentality I sort of do get into when I'm like, right, what's you start thinking to yourself, right, I want to make a Badmion WoW banner knob, right? So he's a knob, so he's going to have a flash gun, because, he's Badmion, and he'll have to have a decent gun, and then he'd have his own ammo grot, because he's like a knob of some prestige. So you're trying to get the stereotypical things in for each clan. So it's like, all right, Badmion's guns, ammo runt, big, feck off, Badmion, glyph, and go from there. So
Snakebite would be a good one to do. You could imagine a more sort of almost like lizard man style, totem pole rather than a banner. It'd be a bit more like a sort of a totem pole or something. With you go a bit more old school with it.
You could do.
Tribalistic sort of looking. It's I mean, Death Skulls. You could do anything because they'd have just nicked it off someone else anyway.
Yeah, you could do the Death Skull one up and make it look like it's blue paint that's been painted over a different tribe's color, sort of thing. We nicked this WoW banner,
Well, fucking hell, just the banner is the door off a rhino
or something like that.
Just rip that off, stuck it on a pole, and there you go. That's the banner.
It's blue, and then you'll see bits of an Ultramarine sign on it or something like that, or an Aquila. That's sort of
a goth one. You'd go for the bull horns and that, wouldn't you? Just a big sort of bull's head or something, that kind of thing.
Checkers, yeah, lots of checks, black and white. Go with that, and then what would you give him? Just a big feck off chopper, I think. You know what I mean?
You'd have to have the power claw, wouldn't you? So you got the plower claw option for the WoW banner knob, wouldn't you?
For the goth
any self-respecting goth's going to have a decent melee weapon.
Yeah, he probably would. Yeah, I think out of all of them, the one that would have the power claw would be the goth. I think you're right in that regard.
And Evil Sons, I imagine, would be more like a sort of a flag banner. You'd have a more almost have him running with it or something, and have more of a flag banner rather than a sort of a solid thing.
I've thought of something for Evil Sons. I thought because it's red, you'd have a stop sign. You'd have the Evil Son's son, but it'll be like a stop sign, maybe on the back of it, and they've, you know, or they've got, you do something with a stop sign because it's red and it's vehicles and it's
Yeah.
all
And
type
maybe
of-
over stop, they've just spray painted over go.
Yeah.
Instead of stop, it's go. Like,
Something
or he's
like
just
that.
ripped a fucking traffic lights out the road. He's got the traffic lights, maybe. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, that's a really cool idea. I like
chains
that.
and wheels, and you can really, it can be fun dabbling with the other clans then without actually having to do a whole army, but sort of
Yeah.
get the feel.
Oh,
of it.
you've got to do it, man. You got to do it. It's got to be
Yeah.
done.
It has to be done. It's a long time overdue. So, but at least we're cracking on with the Bad Moon one now. I am very tempted to chop and change this gun up though. I'm not happy with it at the moment. I mean, it's not terrible, but I'm just like, it needs a little something. Do you ever get that with a conversion?
Yeah, oh yeah, totally. And I see exactly what you mean as well. I think I'll see where you're going with it, and it looks really, really cool. But yeah, it like you say that the balance is not quite there. It needs, it can be
It's too
awkward
front
trying to get
heavy.
a double barrel one and sort of,
Well, I'm thinking maybe side by side. You know, maybe underslung may not be the way to go with it, or it definitely needs something
yeah,
on the rear end. So I'm thinking maybe cut and shunt that bit back, or just put
hmm
a second shooter there, make it like maybe a
it could have a
mock
bit of a
stone bolter
what do they call the bit on the gun, like the arm rest bit that cocks into your
stock.
shoulder? Maybe it needs a bit like a sort of stock sort of thing
Yeah, I
to,
was thinking maybe
give
like a
it a bit
rail.
more.
You could do like a rail stock, so you could do it so
Mm.
you can get wiring, and the insulation jacket on the wiring you can have it as like the mountain points. So I could do like a wired stock, that goes up into his arm. Maybe, I don't know. There's a few concepts I've been knocking around. Add a stock on the back. Yeah. I might add a
I've
stock.
got I took the easy option with my warband. I've got the I've got the old metal warband knob in my army
Have him.
currently. It's
Well,
just
he's
like
a cool one.
it's the old school one. He's got the old school metal custom shooter and the old metal banner. But I've got the Bad Moon specific one that I'm working on that you're helping me with at the moment. And for his custom shooter, I ripped off I've looted a Tau burst rifle thing. So he's got like the gun that's more like a Gatling gun sort of thing to represent the
Burst rifle,
custom
is it, or
shooter.
something? Or
Yeah,
like the
it's something
four
like that,
barrel.
like the little
Yeah.
4-barrel spinny job. And I think I originally got it because I saw it. I got it off eBay or something, like a bit seller. And I saw it and I was like, oh, that would be good for like a vehicle or something I was doing. And then when it came, I was like, well, that's way
Tiny,
too fucking
yeah,
small.
it's tiny.
And
It
then
is.
and then I was like, oh, but I could use that actually for something else. And then so he's gone into that fella. But yeah, it's yeah, wildband and knobs, they're good fun to it's kind of the one that GW sell now. I'm not a fan of the one that
I
you can
like it.
buy the miniature. I like the old school metal ones, but it's almost a bit of a blessing when GW make a shit miniature because you're like, oh, I can do better than that, and
An
it kind of
excuse to
gives you the
convert.
excuse to
Yeah.
yeah. It's sometimes these cool conversions come out of necessity. So you're like, I don't like that, so if I want one, I'm going to have to make my own one, and then you end up coming up with something really cool.
But it's either or, like, because I know not everyone wants to convert or finds it easy to convert, you know. So it's good that they do have a miniature for it, but at the same time, there's nothing stopping you from doing your own.
Yeah,
And doing your own wild banner knob.
he's
And
a
they're
bit
easy
weird
enough.
looking, the GW one, and he's a bit odd looking. There's something off about him.
He was like a limited card. Well, he was supposed to be limited back in the day. I don't remember him. But you can make a wild banner knob using like a Chubba Chub lollipop stick and an old credit card or an old bank card if you can't get your hands on plastic card, or even cardboard. If you saturate it with super glue, it'll become harder. So that's doable as well. Try and get a few bits off your mates, like Space Marine bits. I don't have many of them, so like if you have a mate that you're playing against, it's always fun if you can get like a spare helmet off him or something like that, stick it on the top of your banner, and then paint it in his army colours. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That's always a good laugh.
Yes, definitely. I need to start doing a little bit. I mean, I've not painted many of me knobs and mega knobs and stuff yet that all have the sort of trophy racks with Space Marine helmets. But yeah, a lot of my regular opponents, I'm going to have to, there'll be a lot of Dark Angels helmets in my mob because that's who I most often fight against. And yeah, I'm going to have to loot a few Thousand Suns helmets and towel heads and stuff as well off my regular opponents.
Oh,
Definitely.
yeah, do a bit swap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do a bit swap with your mate. Give them a few orc skulls that you get on the boy sprue. You know what I mean? And then
Yeah, they might like a few dead orcs on their bases
exactly.
and stuff, you know.
Gas it will be entertaining. Give them a few skulls to show on their bases. I need a bigger brush. I should have switched to a bigger brush ages ago when I started painting this.
Yeah, I've pulled out the big brushes for this boy.
I'd be mad otherwise. Essex Boys is saying, my bad me and Wab on her knob is called Ivor Big Gun. I see what you did there. I see what you did there. He's not
You
compensating.
can tell
for
he's
nothing.
mates with Sydney, can't you? The puns are coming thick and fast these days. You can tell.
I've no idea what to call this guy. What do you reckon in the comment section we should call this Wab on her knob, the bad moon git? Any ideas for names? I'm trying to, say anything.
I'm trying to remember the names of our own clans. Because we did it on the Bold Knob one, didn't we? We did it in the back of the book, didn't we? And rolled it. I'm gonna have to look back at that video to remind myself what I called him. But
my own banner knob, yeah, I'll have to paint the name on his base so I remember it.
I remember my one worked out really well because he had a bionic leg, and there was something in his name that indicated that it was something about foot or boot or stomp or something. So it worked out really well because the name just meshed with the miniature I was already making really well anyway. Just by sheer luck. Because remember we rolled the dice, didn't we? We rolled the dice in the book to find out, the first and last name and whatever. I like it when they put that in the books, the old random name generators.
What was it? Battle Bound the Sand. I don't know what kind of axe that is, but man, it looks super cool. Like it's welded together in spots, so you really like it. It's like a totem Battle Bound. Do I have some? And it's made from sheet styrene. I don't know if I have any plain sheet styrene. Hold on. It's made from this type of stuff. So it's made from sheet styrene. If you haven't been messing around with, it's the stuff that you can get, like that evergreen stuff for. You'll get in like railroad shops or hobby shops. It's just like it literally comes in, various thicknesses. The sheet styrene that we use, and you just pretty much hand carve it, and you'll get styrene rod and and tubing, and you'll do detail. This is another thing that needs to be finished on my to-do list: the infamous grot tank.
oh, you're brave bringing that up.
I know,
well, excuse me for a moment. I'm just going to fire up the old the dildo for a minute. All right.
Oh, your paint shaker. I love how you've christened it yourself. How much did
I'll tell you what, it worked.
Well, this is it, man. So what was it? It's originally for nail varnish, is it? Or
it is. It's a glue wake-up device. It's called. It's because the missus does she does beautician sort of stuff, she does eyelashes and things like that, and she does some like nail stuff and that. So it's just this. It's the glue wake up device, cheap sort of, I think Chinese like made thing, off Amazon. And it was a few quid. I'm not exactly sure because it was a stocking filler for Christmas, I think. And at first, if you hold it too tight when you fire it up, it just spins it round. So it's not really shaped. If you hold it gentle, so you're not really holding it properly, you've got to kind of let it wobble a bit, to get the maximum vibration out of it, to reach those, hard to reach areas. There you go, like that. And it gives it a good old shake.
Hold it gently.
Nice. Hold it gently. There you go. But yeah, with a mixing ball inside. And then you get, that nice, satisfying. Never gets boring. And they got all different size, like, fucking hell. You get all different attachments, like the rubber attachments to go on there. And that one is the exact size of these dropper bottles. It fits in there. And it also, in the box as well, I found this out the other day when I was on Discord chatting to everyone. If, you're working hard, building, painting, that gets a bit strenuous sometimes, doesn't it? Well, this has got the answer for you because it also comes with this little attachment. Like,
it comes with a fat, shit.
Just this is all this painting and that. Like, I just need to there you go. Just cool me down. There you go. Get a bit of that, and maybe you're eager. You're waiting for the paint to dry so you can get the next layer on. Dry it off. Job's a good one, man. You've got a wash on there. You eager to get to the next stage? Try the miniature off.
I love it.
It's a quality little purchase, I'll tell you. Even comes with its special little velvet case. You know, if you're travelling away, you know, you want to take your dildo with you, you're good to go. Job's a good one. There we go.
I'm wondering how much they're paying you for the sponsor.
Yeah. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sure the intended guest wouldn't have been so crude on the show.
Battlebound is asking, is there a piece that will fit Citadel paints? Is there bigger attachments or?
Let's have a look. I think that's the girthiest attachment that comes with it. Actually, oh, hang on, no. I know. You know what? There's like 8 of them, and there is a bigger one that's got some serious girth to it. So that might. Let's have a look.
We'll
Got
find
an
out
Abaddon
live
black
on camera.
Yes. There you go. It fits Citadel as well. Look at that.
I'm like, is he brave enough to put it in and turn it on though? Make sure the lid's
Not
on
with
tight.
them fucking lids. Fuck that. Jeez. No chance. But yeah, it's a cracking little purchase, I'll tell you.
That's good.
Solves a multitude of needs.
As I can,
And if you need a bit of me time after your painting session, you got that covered too. Jobs are good.
I'm loving the fan. It's like they sell you a paint shaker, but they're like, here, have a fan blade.
Well, I suppose it makes sense because it's for the glue and that. So I suppose it makes sense that you dry the glue. You know, once you've done your glue on your nails or whatever. I think it's for the glue because she does the eyelashes, and you've got the special glue that attaches the eyelashes. And so I guess it's like you can stick the fan on and then sort of dry them off. You know. Yeah, it's a cracking little purchase. But yeah, I think it's a great tip though, in all seriousness, in the hobby, you can get things so much cheaper that do this exact same job, but are not intended for the hobby.
Yeah, if they're not branded. It's like everything.
Yeah.
If it's not branded hobby, it's going to be cheaper. It's like any survival gear. As soon as it says like tactical on it, you know what I mean? It's more expensive. If there's a piece of equipment and it says hobby on it, it's going to be more expensive. It's always the same. Poke says he just tapes his bottles to a drill.
Yeah, I've seen a few people do that. And again, it does the same thing.
You know, I wouldn't advise it, but you know, if it gets the job done, fair play to you. You know what I mean? I wouldn't mind a fan myself now at the moment.
I mean, I remember I lived at a house with friends, and I had the biggest bedroom in the house, and I had a big ceiling fan. And I used to try and dry my clothes off, and that I'd put all my clothes on the hangers and that. But then I'd put the hangers. There was like little holes in the ceiling fan bit, and I'd hook all my clothes hangers with the clothes on while they're still wet, and then just hit the light switch, turn on my ceiling fan, and my clothes would be just twirling around. They'd be fucking dry within a couple of hours. It was mint. You just got to be up here for thinking, down there for dancing, you know.
The neighbours are thinking your gaff's fucking haunted when all they can see through the windows, all these floating clothes.
With a big white t-shirt floating around like a banshee or something.
I love it. Yeah, Battlebound gets what I'm saying. He's like tactical stuff, tactical wallet. Yeah, mate, it's gas. They really will sell any shit to anyone. It is hilarious.
I remember one of the girls at work, she had a new baby on the way, and she was like looking in all like the thing for like furniture and stuff. She was like, "Oh, I want these drawers for like the stuff," and she said me how much. I'm like, "Why don't you just go to like IKEA or like B&Q or something, get like a normal flat pack chest of drawers?" She was like, "Oh, but they're for the." I said, "It's just drawers. You don't have to get something specifically for a baby. Just buy a chest of drawers. If you want to make, paint it up, make it do what you want to it. You get it for like a fraction of the cost."
It's the same with quite a lot of stuff actually. It's like cakes. As soon as they hear it's for a wedding, like say you're getting a wedding cake, just ask for a white cake and decorate it yourself or get someone else. Because as soon as you say wedding cake, the price like ching, it's like 2 times more expensive. You need to be smart about these things.
Mm-hmm.
Need to be smart. But yeah, I remember you saying that to me, and it's the same thing. I'm not going to paint this gun because I do reckon I'm going to end up chopping that off and rejigging it. So we'll leave it there as a reminder to chop it off and convert it. But that's why I put the big scope on the top as well. I was thinking Bad Bune, Knob, Flash gun, he'd have a big scope. You know what I mean?
I mean, it does look cool. It is a cool gun, but yeah, it just needs, like you
Maybe a
say,
little
some
something.
sort of tweak.
You know, I haven't quite decided what. We'll have to jam something in there. Scar's got some super tasty conversions. Not many, mate. Not many. Hobbygate is saying hematite beads are also good agitators instead of the stainless steel ones. The ones I use are these stainless steel shakers from AK Interactive, and they seem to be alright so far. As soon as I bought them, I just threw them into like a little pot of water for a few weeks to see if any rust would come off.
Test them out. Yeah.
I
I had a bad
them.
experience with some. I bought some off eBay that said that were stainless steel and everything, and popped in all the paints I was using, popped about sort of 10, 20 different balls in all the different ones, and then noticed in the bottom like a little bit of rusted. So I was like, oh no, and I had to hook them all out of all the fucking paints before they ruined them all. And then after that I bought them from Army Painter because I was just like, I just need to stick to a brand I trust, and they weren't expensive, Probably could have got them a little bit cheaper, but for the sake of a couple of quid, it wasn't like I was blowing
it's like
fortune on it.
Like the hobby paints aren't cheap. You know what I mean? Even Army Painter or Vallejo, the paints that we're buying aren't cheap. So I don't,
No.
I don't get risking. You know what I mean?
No.
Risking ruining them with cheap agitators. I suppose it's a lesson hard learned for yourself. Put it warning for everyone else. You know what I mean? But yeah, agitators are they're game changers. I find them useful. I've had no problems with them as of yet.
Well, I had glass ones. I got glass ones from one company which were perfectly safe and that, but they just don't have the weight to them. Because when you get the paints, like when these separate, you got like all the sort of the medium, the watery stuff at the top.
Oh yeah,
and then at the bottom is like really, really thick. And so the glass ball would just go in there, just sit, you'd shake it. And you also, because it didn't have enough weight to them, you couldn't hear them inside the bottle. So you're not really sure if it's even working. When you put the metal ones in there, you hear that satisfying, rattle can sort of sound. You're like, yeah, that's working. That's agitating it and mixing it up.
Yeah, so I've put agitators in these Vallejo washes. They separate a bit, so you can see at the top it's sort of this clear medium and the pigments on the bottom. Like this is flesh wash. I've only started trying these game washes and they seem to be all right. But I've put agitators in them, and you literally you shake them once and that's it. They're good. I like them so far. I've given them a whirl. I've tried the model color ones as well. These model washes are really nice. I was trying them on. What was I trying the model washes on? A few different bits and pieces. There's like the Gear Guts Warboss. I've given him the model wash colors. So it's stippling the AK primer rust on over the Vallejo black and then doing the wash.
Yeah, he's coming along nice, that fella.
Yeah. I just need to decide how to do the yellow on him. I think I might stipple it on. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sort of copy Kyle's style of how he paints his army.
Get inspired by it.
Pay homage to it. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I think that's the idea. Because the model's so unique, I'm like, I'll at least do it up sort of Bad Moon styly. And it'll look good. So that's the plan with him eventually when I do bother. Like, he's absolutely massive compared to the rest.
It is nice when you get like a miniature like that, isn't it? Where you can go, do you know what? I'm just gonna rather than stick to my sort of rigid scheme I've set for my army. I'm just gonna try a completely different style of painting and do something completely different with him.
Yeah, that's it, and you can experiment a bit. So I've had more fun with the rust. Now there's a bit of dust on this other grot tank I have, and I'm gonna quickly try and get rid of it a bit. But this one I've done rust differently. So this is done with pigments. So this one was, I think, Castellan green. So there's a green under there, and I went a bit over the top. So this is the first time I've really messed around with pigments. But I was doing the like pigments and pigment binders, trying on them, and then I was doing a bit of stippling as well with some of the sponging effects, and it's not bad. It's all right. I could have done a bit better, to be honest with you. By the time I perfected, I would have preferred if the rest of the miniature was sort of this kind of color-ish. It gives it a sheen
Mhm.
though. When you put the pigment binder on it, it gives it a bit of a sheen. So I would have liked it if it was green and just rusty around the edges a bit
By
more.
a sheen, you mean what, like a sort of a glossy sort of look to it,
Yeah,
like a
it's not quite gloss. It's kind of like satiny. Do you know what I mean? Not
yeah.
in between. There's a little bit of a
Maybe
satin sheen on
maybe
it.
a little blast of a matte varnish might dull that back down though, and sort of take it
Well,
back a
that's
bit.
it. I'd have to crack out the old airbrush and get cracking. But yeah, I've been
I mean,
enjoying mucking around with rusts. It's fun.
my ones, I mean, my whole armies gets like a matte varnish, they're very matte looking, but I mean, you can see, I don't know if it'll pick it up on camera, but
Well,
here's
shoot
one
up there.
knob
We'll
that's
do a close cam.
he's just had his wash. Let me get the light. There we go. Let's try and get him on there. Doesn't really pick it up, but he's very sort of shiny, wet looking, glossy at the moment because he's just had his wash. And then even when I've got on with all the highlights and stuff, when I've totally finished him, he'll still look really like glossy. And but then I give that matte varnish at the end, and it dulls it all right back down again.
Where's the head off of that one from? Like what bits of
That
it?
is
Some
that
bits look
bot.
like flashgate or something. Or
Yeah, he's got a flash git pistol,
yeah.
knob power claw, and then the body, the legs, and the head are all from for fun minis.
Ah.
Yeah, he's a really cool one. And I'll show him off. I'll show him off now. These are almost done. I've got the old big fat nipple knob, as I've christened him.
Put a bit of paint
He's
on
the
him.
one with the green stuff nipples. Yeah, so he's smoking his cigar and there we go. He's focused.
Hold on, I'll get that.
I'm very pleased with these parts. They're great.
Yeah,
He's
that's
got
looking
big old
sweet, man. I'm
big
liking the
old
yellow.
belly,
I'm liking the yellow
big
on
bling
these.
gold chain. Yeah. And he's got his peg leg made out of a shooter.
Oh, sweet.
You can see all the rolls of flab there. He's a proper bad moon. You know, he's been eating well.
He's a gluttonous
So
kid.
yeah, he's a big fat gangster looking fella. I like, you know. So yeah, but yeah, the old matte varnish, it makes a big old difference. Even when you've finished it, you're looking at it, you're like, God, it looks really like glossy. It doesn't look good then, but just give it that matte varnish, it dulls it right back down, takes all that shine off it.
But I don't really like. I think we had this discussion with the other war bosses. I don't really bother with varnish.
I know. I was shocked when you said that, man. I
it's
was
sort
like,
of, you know what I mean. I don't really finish painting miniatures, so it's always like
that's true. You've never got to that stage yet, so you haven't.
I haven't gotten to the this miniature is fully finished. I'll throw some varnish on. I haven't really gotten to that stage with many minis. You know what I mean? That's part of the reason. But yeah,
And then
no,
we've got
definitely
Dread, that's the other extreme, that literally he paint on one bit, varnish, paint on the next bit, varnish, and like, bloody hell.
Nipple-tastic, I'm loving it.
I'm all about the nips.
I was laughing when you had filed the nipples off, and then you were like, "I need to sculpt nipples on." It's like only in the orc community would you find something like that. How do you sculpt nipples, lads? You know what I mean? And then you get an answer as well. Well, I find if you use a ballpoint pen and take the nib out.
It was Dread. Dread was the one that saved my ass with that. He told me, I was like, "How am I going to get these on?" And he was like, "Right, drill a little tiny little hole into where the nipple was, so it's got a little recess, and then make yourself a little green stuff ball, just the right size, and then just let it drop in there, and it will sit in so it's flush with it." And I'm like, that's genius, you know. Dread, I mean, I'm looking forward to Dim and Dread's conversion clinic thing.
Oh, be careful with your, with your praise there. His head might explode from.
I know, but I give him so much stick. I've got to throw in a bit of praise every now and again. So I do nothing but take the piss out of him constantly. But the boy's got some mad skills. There's no denying that.
Well, he is. He's into his stuff, Ari. He knows his stuff when it comes to converting. Fair play.
Oh, he does. He talks a lot of bollocks, but he knows his shit.
There's nuggets of wisdom in there. You just have to,
there is.
Clear
You got to sift through all the bullshit first.
There's a lot of shit. There's nuggets of gold in there, but it's buried under a pile of shite. So
yeah,
you have to go digging. Oh, yes.
It's like sieving for gold, isn't it? You know,
it'll take a
while.
while.
Little nuggets. Yeah,
you might get fed up, but if you persevere. I love it. Never change, Dread. Never change, bud.
No.
Let's go. So I'm finally putting some paint on this guy, even though it's just priming For those of you who haven't twigged, I'm mainly just prime and base coat in these streams because I find when I go into detail painting, you get that sort of tunnel vision. You get me? It's like you can't really concentrate too much.
But that's why that's really what got me kick-started on this fella, because I've been working on those knobs for a while, and they are now at the stage ready for the final stage of like edge highlighting and whatnot.
Yeah.
But there was no way I was going to attempt that during it, so I was like, oh, I'll start work on the squig off thing, because then it's just painting. I'm just going over him again now, giving a second coat of green just to, give a second coat to get good coverage. Nice and simple.
Yeah.
It's nice not to have to use a painting handle as well, because he's so fucking big. I mean, you could use this as a murder fucking weapon, I'll tell you. It's a big old fucking...
Throwing it against someone.
Oh, you throw that at someone, you're going to kill him. It's got some weight to him. It's just a big solid lump of resin.
What you often wonder about that in like big apocalypse games is you don't want to be playing them on like flimsy boards, because the weight of resin and metal miniatures and whatever else, if someone puts down a couple of Warlord Titans in one corner of the table, you don't want the whole thing to just pivot and fall to the ground.
To move that fucking thing. I tell you, to have one of them, I'd be terrified, especially the money they cost.
There'd be tears, man. There'd be tears of rage. Oh, it'd be so funny. It really would. I mean, for a moment. Oh, after the fact. You'd laugh. You would. You'd cry first and then you'd laugh. You'd be like, well, build another one.
Well, I don't know. I think it'd take a while for me to see the funny side of that. If I'd spent fucking, how much they cost? Like a couple of grand or something crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, you could literally, you could be transporting a Warlord Titan in a car that's worth less than it. So.
Yeah.
Jude's heading off. See you, Jude. Enjoy your holidays, buddy.
Catch you later, Jude, aka Gitman.
The Gitman.
Got a new channel started up, the young lad.
There's quite a few Orky channels cropping up. I'm liking it.
Definitely. Yeah, some good stuff coming out there. He's only a young lad as well. He's got some skills with a paintbrush, man. I was chatting to him the other day. I said, he's only 16. I said, man, at 16, mine was shit. I wasn't at that level. No way.
Yeah, Storm Boys are looking nice. He's got a nice tidy paint job going on the Storm Boys.
Definitely.
I love it. He's headed off and we're singing praise for him now, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There you go, Jude, when you're watching back. What's sci-fi?
That's all right. I prefer to praise people when they're not around. When they're around, I prefer to take the piss out of them. That's the way I roll.
Sci-fi is saying times have changed. Disagreements used to be sorted with the dread sock. Now it's the squig sock.
Yeah.
Sci-fi, I mean, you can still give someone a dread sock and it just doesn't have the same effect. And people look at you weird when you say it now. So for those who, are probably new to orcs, dread socking someone back in the day was when you used to have a disagreement with another player, you'd threaten to take your sock off, put your dreadnought, which would have been sort of...
I'm the daddy now.
Which would have been this sort of Third Edition era. I'll put him under the table. Third Ed, this guy's metal. You know what I mean? Big lump of metal. You'd have a disagreement with someone, take your sock off, put your dread into it and bash him over the head with it. That's dread socking someone. It doesn't quite have the same effect when it's plastic. It'll just kind of...
And then appear in court for attempted murder.
Exactly.
If you're lucky. Full-blown murder if you're unlucky.
Exactly. We do not condone violence at all. This is
only on
something called humor. I need a little like post that comes in up on the corner, like humor alert. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something like that. Warning: may contain jokes.
Do not try this at home.
Hashtag bring dread sock back. That's it. Poke. That's it. Orcs just ain't what they used to be. I love it. Dread saying he's finished the build and his Mort's challenge for the community Discord. Nice.
Oh, yeah, a good excuse for a plug, wasn't it? It's still time, people. Get on over to the Discord, see this month's challenge. You got to rescue something. Rescue a miniature that's sort of fucked, or eBay rescue or whatever. Rip it apart, build it back up, cover over it, and turn it into something glorious. There's some amazing entries coming. I mean, what Dread's working on looks incredible, and Drunken Orc's working on something really cool. And what the work I've seen at the moment thus far is looking really, really good.
Nice. Yeah, some cracking stuff, all right. I mean, only for I'm terrible with deadlines, I'd join in myself. You know what I mean? It's there's only so much disappointment people can handle.
The only reason I did the last one because it was a really low entry. It was literally one infantry-sized miniature, and I was like, even I can manage that.
Even I didn't finish that, me. Even I literally I designed from scratch a 3D miniature, and I didn't print it. I was like, oh yeah, I'll build a miniature. Didn't finish it. Typical.
I mean, it was also because the last one, it was me that came up with the idea of the bionics. I was like, because I've kind of got to enter it because it was me that fucking badgered him to do it. So
the old bionic bits.
I'm pleased I did because I got a nice little miniature at the end of it.
Hobby gets saying, even I'm doing something. There must be something in the water. Well, it's definitely not fucking
his one's looking really cool as well, man.
It's good. It's good to see that people are getting back into the creative.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it must be doing something right because it's got Dim working on orcs. I mean, that's good.
Jesus, that's yeah.
He's doing stuff with GW products. I mean, that's got to be saying something.
It's the world content. You feel that right there, man? Yeah,
right. And he said he's enjoying it too. Oh no.
Where's the real Dim and what have you done with it? Because clearly this is a doppelganger. This is also humor. Right, I'm going to start stippling on some of the Vallejo Primer Rust, which is the effect I like doing. So I've got the black base coat, and I just like to stipple this on. So it'll look inconsistent for the first layer or two until I get... Oh, Jesus, be helpful if I wash the brush out. It's like a brick. It'll be...
Yeah, that's what my one was like, but I'm like, fuck it, I'll pass it.
It's a stippling brush. It's,
stick it in the water, crunch it up a bit, break all them hard bits up, and it's good to go again.
It's on death's row anyway. As soon as I got assigned as a stippling brush, let's be honest. It's El Cheapo brush that I got out of. I don't even know where I got this. Like Super Elements brushes. You know those multi packs you can get for like.
And put it this way, that's the color of my my water at the moment for washing my brush. But usually it's like black, like thick. It's like soup. But I'm still yeah, that'll do. I'll wash my brush and that'll be fine. Just like
as long as you don't take a swig.
Yeah, yeah, don't do that.
I mean,
it does look like one of them little shops, doesn't it?
It does, yeah,
actually,
you know,
like, watermelon, fucking sambuca or something like that.
Pink gin on the go.
Yeah, that's it.
With something barely water. I have no idea. Right, so we'll try stipple up a bit and see how it's going. So yeah, if you can think any names for I get the feeling this is going to snap if I lean on it too hard, so hold on. Brace it a bit. If you can think of any names for this WoW banner knob, because I know he doesn't have a name. We did give our actual ones names, but we'll pick one. Show it in the comments section.
I'm going to start doing that in the future. What I'll start doing is painting on underneath the bases the names of all my different. I would quite like to.
I'll just put it on the rim. I'll just put it on the front rim. You know what I mean? I think that'd be cool for people as well. Be like, oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I really want them to be seen. I just thought, just for my own, so someone could pick it up and look underneath to see what the name is, sort of thing. So
I suppose, yeah, you could do that as well. So you could, but I'd put it on the rim only so I can actually bleed and remember what it is.
Yeah.
And give them all names. That'd be pretty cool. I suppose I could try and design something to 3D print and glue onto them, but effort, just paint it on.
Yeah.
Grim Snaz Tooth says.
Tipex job.
Well, yeah, could do a Tipex job. That can flack a flame. That feeling when the scrap jet has more firepower than the actual jet. Harry Head Thumper. Oh, nice. I like these. Nice. I should copy and paste these down is what I should do. Where's my notepad?
I think the bit that's almost more important than the actual name is like the kind of the sort of nickname that they're given because of they've got their sort of name, haven't they? Like like Gorzag. He's Gorzag, but he's Git Stomper. They get given that, or like Gruck Face Ripper. They get. get given that sort of title because of something they've done or something that tells something about their
yeah,
character.
but surely they'd earn that from, you know, playing games with them, and then eventually they'll earn
Yeah,
a nickname
yeah.
of their own, you know. Do you remember the time he killed, you know,
Yeah.
Chaos Terminator Lord with the WA banner knob, and, you know, you just call him Spiky Squisher or something like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Bob Titan Killer.
Don't laugh. I had a knob that didn't kill a Titan, but he took a few wounds off of a Gargant. He took a few wounds off of a Gargant while the rest of his mob was absolutely annihilated, and I laughed my ass off. I thought it was brilliant. I really did.
I think my favourite moment for me was when my Rot Oiler managed to kill a Chaos Obliterator. That was a good moment. And the big mech charged in with his power claw and spectacularly missed with every attack. And then I was like, oh, I've still got one more little attack from me Grot Oiler. He gets one attack. And sure enough, rolled a 6, rolled another 6. And then that 2+ save was rolled and a 1 came up. I'm like, get in.
I had something happen in an 8th edition battle report where I was fighting Thousand Suns, and he had a demon prince that flew into me war boss, swooped down into me war boss, and like obliterated me war boss. And then I used the stratagem where you can fight back with your character. Yeah. So I did that with the war boss, and the war boss, you know, messed him up a bit, but he was still alive. And then he was trying to be cheeky with his demon prince, so he consolidated the demon prince into the big mech with the custom force field, because the big mech didn't have any weapons, and he's like, that's grand, I'll have him. And then when I activated the big mech just literally turned around with the biggest spanner he had and just duffed the demon prince up the side of the head and killed him. I was like, glorious. Vengeance. You know?
Nice. Yeah, demon princes are nasty, man. Demon princes are savage. I remember playing against Joe's Thousand Suns, and I was so pleased. Quite early on in the game, I'd taken Magnus out, who was like the biggest threat, who just had to die. Killed Magnus, and I thought, brilliant. That's it now. I'm safe now. And then he had 2 demon princes that came in, and they just fucking wrecked me. They are nasty bastards. I mean, yeah, Magnus and 2 demon princes in the same list. It was about as beardy as they come.
I was about to say, you can smell the fromage from here. Like, Jesus whip.
He doesn't fuck about. I'm used to it, though. I'm used to facing those, you know. He goes full on fucking characters and elites, and I just throw numbers at him. And, we get close games, though, you know. Very different style of list building.
How much chaff can he chop through this week?
Yeah, he always lacks board control. That's the trouble. He never takes the chaff units. He doesn't, you know. Whereas I always get the board control.
Does he turn his nose up on anything that doesn't have a 2+ save?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, he's used to playing Deathwing, so he's used to everything being 2+ save. You know.
That's gas.
I think the thing that drew him to Thousand Suns was because the even the standard troops in Power Armor, they got a special.
Yeah, 2+ save, can't you?
They've got effectively a 2+ save, you know, unless they're hit with, you know, certain strength weapons.
Yeah, big guns, big stuff that'll punch through.
Yeah.
What's the crack, Squig Boss Mad Knobs? How are you, bud? I haven't seen you in a while. How are you keeping? How are things in Germany?
Oh, I hope he's gonna post up some of his work. I could use a good laugh again. I've never forgotten Squig Boss, man. And those wrestling grots.
The wrestling grots.
Yeah. Fucking, oh man, I don't laugh so hard on the stream in my life, and probably never will again.
I've managed to glue this guy together, and he seems to have slipped, so I have a gap in his back. The way the miniatures go together these days, they're a bit odd sometimes. Don't know how I've managed that. There's a gap in his back, but I'll have to.
I've got to say, Gitstomper was a pleasure to build. The way they've designed him, there's
that's what I had a problem with. I don't know why. The back of him is, it seems to have slipped or something. Maybe I pushed on him, or yeah, across his back. But I'll fix it. It's not going to be the end of the world. It's a nice model though, and I have the old one here as well. Thanks to you, my good friend Sci-Fi.
Nice.
The legend of the old one here. So I need to.
Oh, I didn't look up at the screen. I didn't realise you're actually doing Git Stomper right now. The only bit on him is the only bit I wasn't where that he does join is on his shoulder pad, because the shoulder pad's broken up into bits. So you do get like a join, which I think, you know, if you're going the full hog, you'd pop in a little bit of green stuff or whatever to just sort of smooth that bit out. I haven't done that because I was being lazy. I just wanted to crack on with the painting. So what I will do is when I'm applying some battle damage, that little bit will be some battle damage, and I'll slap on a bit of metallic and, you know,
Where would put his head?
cover it up that way. But yeah, I found most of the joins on him, most of the bits like where you clip him off the sprue and that didn't even need cleaning up, because the way they attach, they sort of go inside his body, so it sort of covers up all those bits. And very few
I don't know.
mold lines.
You're not going to beat the assembly requirements for the old model. It's literally there's his organ.
Yeah. Stick his head on.
There's the rest of them. Bit of glue, sorted. Happy days.
Glue feet to base. Done.
Glue head. Yeah, I need to take a bit off of his chin there. But apart from that, there's not, like, you can see that they're, you know.
Maybe you could have them both in your army, and this new one could be like son of Git Stomper or something.
He's a little bit taller than him, if you look. He is a little bit taller than him. But they're both nice miniatures.
Oh yeah, bloody lovely miniatures.
But as soon as I saw that 40 built, I was like, they're redoing this sculpture. As soon as I saw it, I was like, yep, they're redoing this sculpture.
Yeah, you called it, man. You called it.
Straight away. I was like, I know what that is. I know exactly what that is. Nice. 25 quid for a model though. Jesus. Well, at least we got a grot of it as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be I wouldn't want him to be doing too many of those. I mean, I think over here it's £17.50, I think.
Ah, I see.
You know, for a knob and a grot.
It's £17.50. That's cheaper than the Red Gobbo. The Red Gobbo was £20 because I bought him when I was in the UK.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Well, they do that because he's a named character, so bump the price off a bit.
This is the problem I have now, because I bought him and then I gave him the dread and I don't have one anymore. I'm like, I need to get one. Pillock. I need to get one. So if you see one out in a store out there, tell me about it, you know.
Just hunt down the original one.
Yeah. Well, I have the original one. I don't have the plastic.
Brush
primer.
Oh, you're fine then.
I should have known, says Roxy.
Roxy,
you know me so well. What else do you expect on my hobby hangouts? Brush priming at its finest. Now, Stevo, when it comes to the pants and stuff, like, what colours are you doing? What colours are you throwing onto your bottom? So I've got a heavy.
My guys generally I give them brown pants because I give them black boots. So I don't want black boots and black trousers. So yeah, they generally have brown trousers.
Sienna. So we've got a few of the.
I usually paint them in a colour. An army painter one called leather brown is what I paint them in. So I don't know what like the alternatives you got are. It's kind of a light brown.
I'm gonna have a look at the Game Extra Opaque. So these are kind of like the old foundation paints. There's heavy brown. There's like heavy sienna.
I go very simple with the trousers. They just get painted leather brown and they get a wash of soft tone, and that's it. That's just a two-stage thing.
One of the two it is. Which do you think, Chad? Do you think we should do like heavy brown, which seems to be sort of a lighter tone, or heavy sienna?
That one on the right looks very similar to me, to the one I use. That's the other one, the slightly darker one. That's that just from what I can see on the camera, that looks similar to the colour I use on my trousers.
But
and then you could highlight them a little bit with the light one.
Paints. I don't know sci-fi. I don't particularly go out on my way to try to taste test all of the paint lines I come across.
Leave that to Dread.
Yeah, that's Dread's job. You're asking the wrong war boss. He'll tell you which contrast tastes the best. You know.
I think he's got a Kickstarter going for his recipe book, so in different contrast paints and that.
But that should be yellow. A sprinkling of Abaddon black on top. Bake for 25 minutes. Yeah, I see what you mean. Me paint waters, I use like a rinse well, which is pretty handy, which is pretty much like a it's what could you describe it as? It's like a pet animal water feeder thing. You know, water dispenser that they have. It's kind of like that, but for painting. I've one of them. I don't know if I could show you on camera really. If I hold
Probably
it
would be quite handy for me because mine's the reason I get a little glass of water from downstairs in the kitchen, bring it up, and because I can't be fucked to go down and get some fresh water, I'm just like, fuck it. It'll do. It's fine.
It is. It's all right. You don't really need it, but it comes in handy. It's got a little water well in it and a little tower for the water, or a little bottle that just holds upside down, and it's not bad actually. I have it a couple of years now. It's pretty handy. Now, what were we painting? Pants. Sog off, Captain Tra. No. Oh, he's back again. He's back.
So
Mostly Zen was saying Stevo's bad moons wear brown pants. You can't tell if they're shitting themselves when they're running away. Tactical.
Cheeky bastard.
It's cheeky because it's true, you know.
I
love it. I needed to add a bit of water to these extra opaques. Oh, wow.
It's just all that DACA they're spitting out. You know, so much kickback, it shakes the old bowels a bit, you know.
I've been throwing out so much DACA, I need a bowel movement. Yeah, all right. That's how you're justifying it, is it? Right. I think I'll do this backpack the same colour. This sort of... that's watered down a bit as well. I think I'll do the backpack that the Grazian.
I am planning soon to do a small unit of commandos at some point in the future, and I've been thinking up like colour schemes for them. Do some very loud, brash camo sort of things. I've even fancied I'm going to have a little go at doing some. The missus is like obsessed with leopard print. Like the bed covers are leopard print. Most of her clothes are leopard print. Like everything's leopard print. And so I want to do something like a little nod to her. So at some point when I do the commandos, I want to just squeeze in really loud camo colours, but do a little bit of leopard print on them here and there as well. So I might like have a go at doing some like freehand like leopard print trousers and stuff on them just for like shits and giggles.
That'd be hilarious.
I want it to be like, you know, my orcs just don't really understand the concept of camouflage. They've seen it on the enemy and they've gone, right, okay, we'll have a go at that, but they haven't quite grasped it because they're still bad moons. They still want to be flamboyant and flashy.
Well, when you're saying that, there is such a thing as reverse camouflage. So it's camouflage that's kind of worn by like paramilitary forces, but it's sort of to announce their presence. So it's not actually meant to be camo. Do you get me? It's more of a statement.
That's perfect for me then. Yeah, that's ideal for my boys.
So when you're saying that, that's what it's reminding me of, and it's usually like police forces in certain countries that they'll have it. Maybe like their SWAT teams and stuff. It's a terminology that's used. You can tell I've looked into a lot of camouflage for Blood Axes. When I'm like,
I'm just thinking of that Ali G scene where his mates and that turn up and they're all in like the pink and the purple and the orange and like just really loud like ghetto gear. Like.
That's it, man. So they brown trousers, and I think we'll do is backpack as well. I mean, we could change your mind on the backpack in regards to the colours, but I think in brown will be all right. Do you own any of their clothes sort of a yellow colour?
No, do you know, I'd never... Well, actually, no, a lie. I do a little bit on... But very, very little. Like, so Git Stomper, obviously, I had a good think. I mean, a lot of black. They have a lot more black on them than yellow. So, like, let's see if I can get into focus. So I've just washed my brush. I've got a bit of time. Let's get the light up there. Hopefully, it'll focus. There you go. It's not too bad. So with Git Stomper, he's got his brown trousers, but the vast majority of him is black. Black coat and everything, and then I mostly the yellow is usually focused on the armor, so I'll go shoulder pads and little touches on the gun, glyphs and stuff, big armored wrist pad stuff, they all get yellow. So most of the clothing on nearly all of them is black and brown, but then a couple of bits, so like big fat nipple knob, his sort of loincloth thing is, you can't really see it there because it's shaded and hasn't been highlighted, but his sort of loincloth sort of skirt thingy is done yellow. And they might have the odd yellow wrist strap and stuff. But yeah, no, I don't, because I don't like to go overboard with the yellow. Like, prefer just to sort of pick out the arm, you know, the metallics and stuff in armor. All this mech, he's got a bit of yellow on him, like he's got a yellow wrist strap there. You can't really tell it's yellow because it's been washed down heavily, but he's got a yellow wrist strap on him, and again, he's mostly black with like just touches of yellow on him.
So it's not. It's sort of a feature color for your army rather than like
Yeah,
an
it's
over
the sort of,
dominant.
yeah, definitely. I don't know. With the clothing, I tend to go for more natural colours. So, like a leather jacket is going to be black or it's going to be brown, and the trousers will be brown, boots will be black. I go for like natural colours, and then where I put the yellow in is mostly on the armour. So they'll have, you know, yellow armour on top of their natural clothing, sort of thing. Before I get to doing the armour, they look like snake bites. You know, they're very sort of
I'm
just
starting
basic.
to get, I'm starting to get that vibe with the brown trousers and the brown backpack on this guy. I'm starting to get that sort of
Yeah, and
snake bite
it
vibe.
gets to that stage, and then I reach it, and then just as I'm about to start doing the yellow armor, sometimes when it's been a bit of a grind painting a miniature, I'm like, God, if I'd done Goths or snake bites, he'd be finished now.
Finished by now, yeah. Yep, being there.
I usually do the clothing, and usually I do the clothing and the skin and that first, and then do the armor and stuff last. You know, so.
Tommy Grindle were saying yellow flames and small yellow details on black always contrasts nicely. Ooh, it's not a bad idea, though.
Yeah, the black and yellow do contrast really nice. So as well, it that decides what color certain things are going to be sometimes. So like I might want to do something in brown, but then because I know there's a piece of armor that's right next to that or on top of that that's going to be yellow, I'm like, well, I can't do brown because when I do brown and yellow too close together, they're too similar and it doesn't work.
Doesn't contrast.
Yeah. So I like to put yellow armor over the top of black clothing, or you know, or if it has got brown clothing, then rather than doing that bit of armor yellow, I'll do it black. And it's the same. Like that's why the trousers. I was going to do like I have got a few boys that have got brown boots with black trousers, but it doesn't look quite as good. So I prefer the black boots.
Do you give them like shiny boots? Do you bother giving them like a whack of gloss varnish or anything, or do you just?
No, the only thing that I go glossy with is their eyes and their tongues and lenses. If they've got like a bionic eye or they've got like a big mech of KFF, like any lenses or scopes on the guns, I give them a gloss. But no, everything else is matte. But I dab even on their eyeballs. When I've dotted the little red eyeballs, I'll go in at the final stage with a little bit of gloss varnish, and I'll just dot the eyes. They've got like a little glistening, like you know. And on their, you know, if they've got their mouth open with their tongue sticking out or whatever, I'll put a bit of gloss on the tongue just to give it that wet look. But no, they don't have shiny boots. They're too they're battle worn. So I like them to be looking. I don't like orcs looking too clean. I like them to look like they're always in the thick of the action and grubby and dirty. And
I get you. I think I'll have to paint the skin before I paint this shirt, but I haven't decided. Well, we could do like an ochre, I suppose. We've got like heavy gold brown. We've got like a heavy sort of ochre. And decide what colours to do. Contrast black is good for black leather, says mostly Zen. Yeah, true.
Yeah, well, that is one contrast paint I would like to have actually is the black one because that would save a lot of fucking time. I highlight my black. I just go in. I can't remember what colour it is I use. One of the greys, one of the dark greys I use. Where is it? I think it's called Fortress Grey or something. I've got somewhere, and I just very light dry brush over the edges with that just to pick out the sort of so it's not just a complete black. Just pick out the highlights a little bit. I don't know where it's gone. It's around here somewhere. Oh, there it is. It's called Uniform Grey. That's what I do. Uniform Grey. Just a very light dry brush of that just to highlight the black a little bit.
And then you leave it at. You don't go like in for a second highlight again. It's just like
no. It's very very simple. Most of the colours I use like is usually 3 steps, sort of tops for a lot of it. I don't. It's basically a base coat, a wash, and a highlight, and then some of the things like the trousers will literally just be a base coat and a wash.
Yeah, I do that for some of the stuff myself, especially for the likes of trousers and things.
Yeah, they just don't.
Underneath. You're not going to
Just, I
really
mean,
see it.
on the characters, I sometimes like the trousers. I'll go a little bit further. I'll do like a brown and then a wash, and then I'll go over like a bit of a lighter brown. Just to, it depends really, but mostly, yeah. You've got to draw the line somewhere else. You never fucking finish anything, do you?
Yeah. Well, yeah, just depends. I think with like character pieces and stuff, you can give that bit more. Like, I wouldn't put this much effort into a normal orc boy. There's no way. Like,
No.
this all stippling the rust and stuff. I'd be like, me arse, just base coat and go.
See, I fucking do, man. Like, to be honest, my characters, I might go a tiny bit further with them, but it's more that I put more effort into my infantry. Even my grots, man. I've put like pretty much the same effort into my grots as I do with my like big mechs and stuff. It's nuts, I know. But...
Hey, look, it'll look good at the end. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it.
And as long as you're happy with your army and the
that's
progress
it.
you're making with it, that's the important thing. So it's the same for anyone. Once you find that medium that you're happy with of enough detail, but you're still progressing enough, and it works for you, then it's your hobby, man.
I think the thing that I don't like, say, I probably do less steps than a lot of people, but I think one thing that I do pride myself on and where I really try is I just really, really fucking neat with it. Before that wash goes on, everything is crisp. I don't like any overlap or anything. I don't want a bit of green bleeding into the armor or the teeth. I'll painstakingly go over it and make sure everything is so crisp.
Yeah, you're very tidy with your paint jobs. But it really pays off in the end. You know what I mean?
I think it does in the long run. Yeah, definitely.
Right, what skin color are you on this guy? No, not Elysian green. I wasn't planning on painting orc skin today. That World Forest. That's what I'm looking for. That's my base color. Let's see how gelatinous the paint is in this pot. I haven't opened this in a while. It's like, oh, he hasn't been painting orcs that often, has he? No.
What is that you're opening? Is that a GW paint you're opening up, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, dear Lord.
Yeah, I know.
Good luck. It was the fucking liquid green stuff, man. Shit, me, that was an experience. I used it once, opened it back up, and it just turned into like fucking Play-Doh.
Yeah, putty. Yeah.
But by happy accident, I prefer it in this form. It's like halfway between liquid and green stuff. It's like a really moldable, user-friendly green stuff. It's not, like green stuff's like really firm and hard, and you've got to really kind of squeeze it and mold it. I love it. I was getting this, adding a little bit of water to it, and it was just like a real squidgy putty, and I was able to just squish it into like gaps and stuff. But I mean, I'm not even going to open it now because I don't want any more air to get to the fucker.
It's perfect.
Yeah, I'll be honest though, I don't think I'm ever going to buy this stuff again because I was like, gee, that's terrible. That is terrible, man. And it wasn't like closed bad. It was sealed, man. It was sealed. These pots are fucking atrocious.
They are. They really are. They're pretty bad.
But I've been watching some other channels and there's a Kit Bashing channel I watch sometimes, and he uses this stuff from I can't remember if it's Tamiya. It might be Tamiya, it might be Humbro or something. And it's in a tube. And you just squeeze out a bit. And I'm like, why haven't I known about this? That's like, why am I fucking about moulding two bits of shit together and fucking like, that's all I want. I want something in a tube. I can squeeze out a bit, squeeze it on, wash it off with a bit of water. Done.
This the Vallejo plastic putty, this acrylic stuff. It's 100. This is what I use.
Yeah, that's what I need, man. That's what I need. I need that because
I like this.
Unless I'm literally making something out of green stuff.
I used it on the top of this gun because there's a really bad join. Obviously it's a little bit dusty now, but there was a really bad join down the middle of this gun, and that's what I used it on. I used it on the gun because whatever way I glued it, it was arseways, and then I found there was really bad join connections in between the wheels on this Grok one as well. And I literally just you get your brush and you just fill it in, and then we'll let it dry.
Brush over with a bit of a wet brush to smooth it off.
Yeah, you can get a brush. I didn't even bother with that. I literally just got the back of a knife after it hardened and just scraped the excess off and sorted.
Jobs are good. Yeah, that's what I need, man. I need to get me some of that because if I ever use green stuff, it's largely just to fill gaps, and even I will do anything to avoid using green stuff. I fill gaps with glue, and I fill gaps with paint. I've had a gap in a model, and I'm just like, right, I'm just gonna get a big blob of paint with no water and just glob it in there, and then fucking paint over and smooth it all. I'll do anything to avoid fuck arsing about with that, because I just, when I built it, if I am going to start painting it, I just want to get to the painting. I don't want to fuck about with stuff. Like, I use all kind of shortcuts. Like, I will literally just keep painting over it until the fucking gap's gone, like all the mold. Like, if there's a join, I'll just keep painting over it. That's still showing a bit more
don't
paint.
laugh. I've seen like Darren Layton used to do heavy metal. He did exactly that, where it's like he's filling in a tiny gap with paint, and I was like, "You're mad, man!" But if it works, it works. We've a question.
Just laziness
from Tommy Grimm Booter. He's asking if it shrinks. Tommy, I haven't noticed if it shrinks. Like I said, when I paint it on, I scrape the excess off. When I'm using it to fill, so it tends to be pretty good in that regard. I haven't had any issues with it myself personally. So if it does shrink, it's not much.
But the plastic glue is great. Like this stuff, the liquid poly that I use, like when I'm doing plastic miniatures and that, if like sometimes you're doing a model and you realise that like where you've maybe you've missed a little bit of a mold line or whatever, or like you're sticking an arm to a thing and there's the little bit of like the line where you've glued the arm and you've got that little line. I just, with the brush, paint a little bit of glue over so it just melts the plastic and just melts it together and just hide that, Like with the boys, just the standard boys kit where you stick the arms on and you've got that line, haven't you, where you've stuck it. I'm not going to be fucking about with fucking green stuff and shit. Fuck, life's too fucking short, man. Just slap on a bit of extra glue, mold that shit together. There you go. Job's a good one. Stuff like that, like not necessarily a gap as such, but just that little line you want to hide.
Rust for the rust god. What do we think of the rust when that dries up? Now that'll be alright. That's not too bad.
That's looking real good, man.
And then we'll stipple some yellow onto it, I reckon. And then will we stipple metal on first? I don't know. I might stipple metal on and then stipple yellow on and see how it goes. See how it looks. It might look a bit mad, but sure, why not? We'll give it a go. And then I think when it comes to
see how much fun you could be having, that's the way forward.
Yeah, just painting orcs. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have a clan at the moment,
Yeah. Just look at all that DACA, man. Look at all them bullets, all that DACA. See, that's you could be having all that fun. Never mind fucking putting silencers on and sneaking through the bushes, man. What's all that about?
They're the best bits, man.
I've got to say, man, I do like your little commandos with the SMGs, all your shooter boys where you've got like little
silencers on the guns. I'm heartbroken
that
I used the those resin bits I used from were the Forge World Commando ones, and they don't make them anymore. I mean, I have some. I bought, obviously, me being me, I bought surplus to requirements. I bought quite a few of them, but it's they don't sell that Commando set anymore, which is a bit disheartening. But sure. What can you do,
It gives you a great opportunity. Again, necessity. That's going to force your hand to start kit bashing and converting your own ones, and you'll come up with something really cool.
Effort. That's so much effort, though, man. Jesus. But yeah, for I would advise.
Fun though, isn't it? Fun. I don't know about you. I don't really know where your preferences lie. I know you like building the stuff and that, but like. Would you say that's like your favourite part of it is the building, or would you like the converting and getting a bit of plastic art and kit bashing stuff together? And
I think it depends on what mood I'm in. Like I have bursts of inspiration. Like I'll be honest, before we started this hobby hangout, I was like, oh, I'm not really in the mood. I'm like that a lot. So that's why I was like, I need to get a coffee in me. I need to get some energy into me, maybe. But now that I've got the ball rolling, actually painting, I'm like, oh yeah, I want to paint more.
I'm saying actually, I need another little coffee hit actually.
So it just depends on my mood. Like it really does. Sometimes I'm like, I want to build something. Sometimes I want to paint something. Sometimes I don't want to do anything, but then I force myself to, like now, and I'm enjoying it. So it's like, I'll keep that, I'll keep that trucking and keep it going.
I'll answer that from Mostly Zen. He said, when drilling your barrel, Scarno, how do you make sure the hole is right in the middle of the barrel? I'm sometimes off center a bit. Really simple tip. Yeah, I get a drawing pin or just a pin and I find the center of it and I poke a little hole with the drawing pin, and then that's your guiding hole, your pilot hole for your drill, and then line the drill up and go in. And even when I do that, sometimes I'm still just a touch off center sometimes, but I'm like, I'm not too fussed, you know.
Compass. I literally get a compass, and I just get the metal part of the compass, and just eyeball it up, throw that in, and then what I do is I don't even use, because I've lost me drill bit, so it's literally I'll get a tiny drill bit, little weeny tiny one, and I'll just line it up, and with me hand, just with me fingers, I'll just be like, I'll put a little.
Oh wow!
I don't even.
You've lost your pin vise thing, have you?
Yeah. I've lost my pin vise. I give a little to someone or something. I need to buy another one, but my hobby store, they're always out of stock. And then I just literally right now all of these are being drilled by hand. I'm just like, whoop, and then that's it. I literally have like me drill bit size that's 4 shooters, and that's how I do it. It's compass and drill bits and patience. Take your time.
Yeah.
You know? Just take.
I was mostly way through Git Stomper when I drilled a hole on his one, and then I was painting him up, and I looked at it. I was like, that hole is way too fucking small. Must have like gone down to a smaller drill bit for something else at some point. And I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and got the biggest drill bit I could get, because he's got a big old slugger on him, man, with a big old barrel on it. I looked at it, it was like this tiny little pinhole. I'm like, no, it's not going to be big enough for the bullets. So I have to make that bigger. But the only thing I haven't done in my army is my grots. I think I am going to go back with a really small drill bit and even drill the little barrels out.
You're a glutton for punishment, so yeah, I'll give you that much.
Yeah, they've got. I was looking at them. I'm like, yeah, I've kind of got to go and do, because they're the old school, just a little dot of black on them. Because I'm like, oh, they're too small. It doesn't matter. But I'm like, actually, now I've done them, the rest of them, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to have to drill their little barrels out. But it doesn't matter. Even if you've painted the miniature and that, like drilling the barrel out and then just getting a little brush and pop little dollop of black in there, you're not going to ruin your paint job. So even after you've painted them, you can always go back and drill them out later. It's not a big deal.
Well, this is what the hobby gate is saying, DM. He's saying, you know, if you don't get it right, you can always backfill it with green stuff, let it cure, come back and drill it again.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not the end of the world. You can always.
I'll say a lot of the ones I've done, if you like really looking at them, you can see they're just slightly off center, or but I think even if you don't get them quite perfect, a drilled barrel is still better than a not drilled barrel. Yeah, it's like even if you haven't done a very good paint job, a bad paint job is still better than no paint job. You know, it's still.
I think you can, like when you're drilling barrels, you can tell when you start drilling. This is why I do it by hand, because I've lost my pin voice, but I'd use my pin voice. You can start it off, and if you see it starting to go a bit wonky, if you actually put a bit of force in the direction that you want to go, just a little bit, you can actually sort of skew it to go. You can, there's a bit of give and take. You can get it to go where you want it to go, sort of. You know what I mean?
That's what I do at my walls at home if I'm putting up shelves or something. The walls here, I don't know what the fuck they're made of, man, but drilling anything into, I dread it every time I got to put up a shelf or like a TV
walls.
bracket.
Mate,
this is an old house, man. I was putting up a TV thing in the girl's bedroom.
Well. It's crazy.
And
it's
my
an old
grill,
council house. Yeah. It'll die of death. You need a proper fucking heavy duty one.
Masonry drill, like heavy duty. I had to borrow one off one of the guys at work, like heavy duty for like drilling through fucking steel or something, to just get it like just drill, just spinning around, and you're like forcing it in and just nothing's happening. I'm like, for fuck's sake. And yeah, in the same way, because it hits some hard bit in the wall when the drill starts going off. You're no, fuck it. And I'm just like, yeah, fuck it, that'll do. And just bodge it up. It'll be hidden behind. No one will fucking see it.
I literally had to put 2 brackets up to put the blind up in the window here, and I had exactly the same problem. First one, I must have got lucky and got in between the mortar or something like that, and it went in. The second one, Jesus, mate, I was at it for like a half an hour with me little blind decker drill. It was just. The thing was dying to death. It wasn't enjoying.
I mean, if you're in a new build, you've got no worries. I mean, you just got to be careful. You try and hammer a nail in, the whole fucking wall caves in.
Yeah, don't lean too heavy on them, mate.
I mean, you could hear a mouse farting next door in the fucking new houses. Fucking hell.
Definitely. All council houses, they'll be standing long before the rest of us are gone.
Yeah, they don't make them like they used to, man. Fucking hell.
The way to go. I think I've watered down this paint for your skin a bit too much, but that's all right. And come back with an extra layer. It's not the end of the world.
I keep getting that with these. One thing I will say about a lot of these army painter paints some of the colours, they don't like a wet palette. Some of them put them on a wet palette, and I'm just like, do you know what? Fuck this. And I've been using a lot lately is these. I buy these. I don't know if they have them like overseas and other places, but they're like a little cheesecake pudding thing. Called GU. They're called. They're really nice. It's a little cheesecake with a foil lid, and you peel it off, and they come in these little glass things. And we always buy them. They come in like twin packs, and me and the missus, we never throw them out. These little glass dishes because they're great. I use them for little paint palettes. She uses them for like her glue and stuff for the eyelashes and stuff. They're fucking mint. But yeah, I find myself more and more these days using just a dry palette because, and I think that's more to do with these paints. I think it depends on the paint used. Certain colours I like using on the wet palette, and then a lot of the lighter colours I prefer using on a dry palette because I find that you get just that tiny bit too much water in the mix, and they're just useless. You've got to paint 20 shades of.
They'll go arseways on you, so they will. No, I know what you mean. It's like any of the metallics and stuff like that. I don't put anywhere near a wet palette. And then I'll do what I'm doing now, where it's like I didn't bother digging out the wet palette and I'm being a lazy git, so I'm literally just using like the edge of me water well. And I still,
even when I do use GW ones, I've been using just because I've got a few GW paints that I got with the Conquest magazine. It's the only reason I've got them. But because I know they've got a limited fucking shelf life before they dry out. So I'm like, the Abaddon Black I've been using, and I just use it straight out of the pot. I know some people are like, oh, no, sacrilege. Thin your paints. I'm like, fuck that. Straight on. Jobs are good. Dread's like, just fucking like, no.
Mostly Sen was saying Mrs. Zen got me a hammer drill and actually scares me a bit. Fucking good drill though, I'd say so, mate. I'd say so. Poke was saying with the price of these models, they should be drilling them for us.
He ain't wrong. He ain't wrong.
Yeah, I'd be afraid of what I'd do with a proper drill in my hands. You know what I mean? It's bad enough with the Black and Decker. That's why I still have
the 3D printed 3D printed stuff. You get like, you don't have to do none of that shit. Like my Mega Dread that I got from Gear Guts is great because there's no drilling of barrels required there. It's all fucking it's already there. It's always like it's always nice when you see that.
Well, this is it. Even when I'm printing off like my BattleTech buildings, like I design them so that they print, and it's literally there's like a brim on the edge of them just for extra adhesion, and I get a blade through them, and that's about it. They're happy out. You know what I mean? It depends what way the miniature is being designed when it comes to printing. I wouldn't mind a resin printer. I could do some like vehicles and tanks and stuff. You know what I mean? I'd be an element then. There'd be no stopping me.
Yeah, you've been enjoying it. You've been cracking out the old BattleTech terrain and that on there. It's looking sharp, mate. It's looking well good. And I know you're doing me a favour at the moment. You're printing me off a banner for my War Banner knob because I gave up doing the old plastic card with it. It just wasn't happening. And mate, there were so many close calls with that Stanley blade as well. I was like, I'm going to have to get someone with a 3D printer to just like copy what I've designed and print it off for me because it was getting scary, man. Like I was like, just like I've got to stop. Quit before I lose another finger.
Yeah. I don't lose any more digits. Jesus. Yeah, we'll sort something out. We'll see. I'll try do something. You sent me the design, so I'll try do something up like this banner. But this is all plastic art here. All of it. I literally did what you did, and I drew the design on paper for us, so it's like erasing it, drawing it until you're really happy with the shape, and then sort of transferring that over. Cut it out, transfer it over to the plastic art, trace it out, and then I did 2 layers. So there's this side, because I knew I wanted to make it segmented. So see the way this is all cut? They're actually all separate pieces. So I cut this in one piece, and then I cut it up into individual pieces, and then I went with the second layer, and I cut this into pieces as well. But I made sure that they didn't overlap. So it's kind of like a jigsaw. Do you get me? So I'd like...
Probably what I should have done, really. I probably would have been able to do it. I was trying to basically... That shape, my one is very similar, and I was literally I drew it all out on the plastic card, and I was very carefully trying to carve my way through it with the Stanley blade and cut the very awkward shapes and getting into the crevices and stuff, and it was just it was getting a bit risky.
Yeah, it can be. It can be. You just need to sort of take your time with it. You know what I mean? That's the thing I learned because it. I think this was like wasn't my first attempt. I was trying to think how am I going to get the effect that I want so that it's scrap and then it's put together, and I didn't want it to be the same on both sides. But then I was trying to think, right, if it's two layers and I want it segmented, now how are those two layers physically going to actually stick together? So offsetting the cuts was the answer for it. And then even doing like details like this where it's sort of it's a little band of metal, but that physically actually helps keep it together as well. So some of it's like aesthetic, but some of it actually,
I
helps.
suppose even if I wanted to keep it, I could have done the same thing as you and then just sort of filled it in a bit and smoothed it over to make it look like all one piece again, couldn't I? Once I, cut
Yeah,
off.
it's up to you what you want done with it. You've sent
I
me
mean,
a design, so I'm gonna
then I
try.
thought,
I'm gonna try
oh,
do some in plastic card. I'll try a 3D design, and I'll probably just send you the 3D design, and you can get, it resin. We could even, maybe rope Dame into it because he's got a resin printer. I reckon it'll be better done in resin. So
yeah,
if we come up with a design, I can design it, and then we can get Dame to print it off if he's able to, and we can get it done to you that way. And I can muck around with it in plastic art as well. But like even the
you
bracing on the back.
even if you don't have one, you don't need one. You just need a friend with one.
Yeah, exactly. But this is it, man. The horns of the moon could be powered so it's like a claw. It could do. You could do. You can always come back in with detail and have like a little power pack, and then do like wiring back up and in so that it's like a weapon in and of itself. But this is what I'm thinking. This is why I was happy with um jagging, distressing the edges of it because it is pretty much a giant blunt weapon. So this is it is kind of like an axe shape. You know what I
Hammer
mean?
is a weapon, isn't it? In game, it's
Yeah,
quite a tasty weapon
it's a
too.
big. You could have like an axe shape here. So if I was smart about it, I'd do like metal here, and I might do like a little bit of blood as well to make it look like someone's head's been bashed in. And you could do the same over here where it's, metal down the edges a bit, and then come in and make it look like it's been stabbed into someone or someone's been bopped over the head with it, or that type of stuff. The banner should also be a weapon. It's an orc. Anything it gets its
Yeah,
hands on is a potential weapon. I don't know.
quite a tasty weapon. It's very similar stat line to a big chopper. And I haven't got the stats at hand. I can't memorize them off heart, but it's not too shabby in game terms. It can. Your
This is it.
Warband Knob gets into combat. He's quite capable of dishing out some punishment.
Poke was having a bit of a hissy fit there when we were talking about power tools. Ew, Black Zog and Black and Decker. Listen, mate, we're not all drill snobs, all right? We don't.
Oh, I had a mate who was a mechanic and stuff. And if you talked about Black and Decker, he would fuck you. Oh, he was all. I can't remember the brand he was all about. He had a hard on for this brand. He was always going on about it. DeWalt, that's it. DeWalt
God,
or
they're
something like that.
terrible as well, mate. Jesus, the Walt are
He
just
seemed
bad.
to have a fucking. He was going on about him.
There's my cousin does carpentry. He's like a cabinet maker, and I know a lot of the tools that he goes with are like Makita ones.
Mhm.
That they're not cheap. Like
No,
Jesus, he was talking about how he needs a new drill. You know what I mean? And uh, he needs to replace his drill that he has, and he's looking at 400 quid or something. And I'm like, Jesus, bud, proper.
I've got a drill. Um, it is Black and Decker, but it's really old. It was my granddad's, and it's not even a fucking cordless. Like, it's fucking got to keep it. I've got to get the extension lead out when I use it, but it just keeps on trucking, man. It's like it's not plastic either. Like everything's made of plastic now. Like it's just pure. It's all solid metal. It's like proper old school, but it just keeps on going. I mean, I think the drill's older than me. Fucking, it's a good old drill. Just keeps on going.
They just don't make them like they used to.
Definitely don't. I used to work in B&Q years ago, and I bought like one of their own brand ones, like cheap ones in the house, and mate, that thing wouldn't drill through a fucking sponge.
What paperback? Yeah.
And the
Oh,
drill bits, you like drill through a bit of fucking like plywood or something. The drill's like, just like they're fucking blunt already. What the fuck?
yeah,
Cheap old nasty
it's
shit.
it's cheap and cheerful. Probably made best used for putting IKEA furniture together, and that's about it. Like,
Yeah.
definitely. I
Yeah,
love it.
most of my boxes all hand-me-downs and stuff. You know, just shit I've had for years. So
Look, if it works, it works. It's the same
that's
with like
it.
miniatures and stuff. You know, it doesn't really matter where they come from.
No,
Someone
especially
gives you a
in our
hand-me-down.
community.
Yeah. Someone gives you an old hand-me-down. Like, I think there's nothing better than like someone rummages through their attic and they give you like an old shoebox full of miniatures, and it's like, what's? It's like hidden gold, sort of. You know, what's in this? You don't know what you'll find. It might be absolute tat where it's full of, second ed goths painted up horribly using Humbrol paints or whatever, enamel paints. You don't know. And you might find some like metal miniatures in there. Show them in the paint stripper and away you go.
Hey, I do like doing the old rescue. That's where I got I bought all my metal knobs, the old school metal knobs. I bought all them. They're all bad paint jobs and stuff on them, and I just bought them literally like all super glued together. I just snapped them all apart, scraped off all the super glue, stuck them in the paint thinner, and old toothbrush to scrub it all off. And there you go. I've got brand new metal miniatures left, ready to rebuild and paint again. Very satisfying doing the old eBay rescues.
Yeah, it can be.
And because if they're painted shit and stuff, they tend to go for a lot cheaper as well. Because people are like, oh no, I'm like, I don't care. I don't care how they're painted because I'm going to be painting over them anyway.
BCD2 was saying that's 3 dead beakies on a good roll. Well, maybe 2 on the top of the banner. That's where they came from. A decent combat roll.
So I never bother giving him Power Claw. I'm like, he's already got a close combat weapon.
See, banner knobs in my eyes, you know what I mean? I know they're knobs, but they're sort of support characters. That's why my Blood Axe one doesn't have the Power Claw, because what I do with them is I give him Mogrod's thinking cap, and then I'm able to give him like a warlord trait, and it's is it like I got a plan, lads? The one where I give him pretty much like the WA ability.
Yeah.
So I give the banner knob the WA ability, and you get like 1 command point with it as well. So I turn him into like a very support role character. So they're gonna get the bonus from they're gonna get the bonus from the banner. They're gonna get the bonus off of him because he's a knob, in regards to like miniatures running away, and then they'll also get like the WA ability with him. So it's a nice little combo that goes on. So you don't really want to be sticking them in combat because the enemy will just take them out on you.
Yeah,
you want
I learned that the hard way.
boys.
I used to get a bit greedy and be like, I'll pile him in there as well. And of course, they go target him straight away, and then the effectiveness of everything has just dropped massively.
It drops. Yeah. As soon as that happens,
plus skill.
The weapon skill drops off. Now, what I do is I do different base colors for the boys than I do for the Gretchen. So I think it's like, what was it? Deathwood Forest. I have like Ogren camo. That's like highlights. I think I use Elysian green. Is that it? I'm trying to remember now. It's been that long since I painted one. I don't think I'd use Elysian green. Hold on.
You want to have a little book, mate, like me, and write down all the paints you use, and you've got.
Oh, I do. I lose the book.
Yeah.
If it's not one thing,
I was just thinking actually for this fella, because I'm using all new paints I've never used for. I'm gonna have to write these down later so I can remember, like just in case.
I kind of remember. A lot of the greens I remember. So like WA flesh and stuff I use for the inside of mouths, because I reckon like we're sort of, our skin tone and then our flesh is like red. So I reckon that the orc skin would be different tones, but then their flesh would be darker than the skin, or be like a green, a tone of green in my mind. So that's why I go with the WA flesh. Now some people don't like the look of that, but I think it's pretty cool. And then like for the metallics, the likes of the Grot tank when it was actually green back. Well, actually, hold on, I'll get the dread out. So that's sort of military green. I do like Castellan green. I go for that. It's a nice green colour. When I do on camos. So I do have various greens. I think that's the colours that I do go for. I do Deathwood Forest, I do a wash, and then I do like Elysian green. Is it Elysian green? I'm trying to remember. Lots of them. do use Steel Legion drab though, and Dryad bark for leathers. I'll have to remember what ones I do, but definitely I'll have to. The green I do on the Gretchen is a lighter tone, but it's a highlight color. So the base color for the Gretchen is the highlight color for the Orcs.
I get you.
Then I hit them with a wash, and then I hit them with a lighter color again. But I definitely, yeah, Ogren Camo. I think it's Elysian Green and Ogren Camo are the ones I use. So like the base color for the Gretchen is lighter in tone again than the Orcs themselves. So yeah, and then I do there's another green that I use.
I do like the look of your grots. They are looking tidy.
There's a different green I use. I think it's like I use
because you go lighter on the grots and you're a bit darker on the knobs.
So I've actually painted the knob a different. He should be a different color. So I actually do Deathcore drab. This is the knob color, and you'll highlight up. So I use there's like 4 colors I use, but I vary the tones depending on what the miniature is supposed to be in my army. So boys will be like Deathworld Forest, and then highlight with Elysian Green. Knobs will be a darker tone, which is like Deathcore drab, and then highlighted with like Deathworld Forest. Do you get me? So it's all it's different tones, but the greens sort of tie into each other a little bit. So I'm still getting the variation, but it'll look decent.
Yeah, they're not like a completely different green. They're just
they're in the same sort of ballpark. Yeah, I reckon if I used like totally different greens for them, they wouldn't.
Clash a bit.
What's one of your older vids? You'll find out. I'm pretty sure it's these colors here. So I should actually have painted them Deathcore drab, because he's a knob, which you can tell is darker again. So I'll probably actually do that now. But yeah, I should. Do you know what I should do? I should do painting tutorials for my skin for myself, so I remember. that would be an idea. It's like, oh, look your tutorial, man. It's just for me, just to remember stuff. I'm just kind of
even when I do like showcases and stuff, like even if I'm terrible, like even if I like whether it's like talking about a kit bash or a conversion or a paint job or whatever, I forget the colours I've used. I'm talking it through on the camera. I'm like, yeah, for that bit I used. Oh fuck, what did I use? Can't remember where that bit came from.
And I like using brass. So on my metals, I'll use a metal colour, and then I like to pick out details on this Castellax bronze, which is kind of like the old tin bits.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at this banner and I'm going, all right, what colours is this going to be? Where am I going to pick out maybe some of the tin bits? And I'm thinking maybe like the bottom of it, in between the part that he holds, because that was originally an axe that I've cut back, but it looks like a handhold, and the pole's a bit bent, but I'm quite, it doesn't bother me too much. Doesn't need to be super straight. And then, obviously we'll have to paint up one of these like an ultramarine, and that's a space wolf or something of that color. Or maybe Imperial Fists. That's yellow, isn't it? Imperial Fists, the yellow ones?
Yeah.
I'm thinking Crimson Fist. No, Imperial Fist, they're the yellow gits. I reckon Bad Mills would have an Imperial Fist helmet on their their banner pole. It would make sense. It's yellow, like.
It's always good to have a nice contrasting colour, though, isn't it? Like pick the marine chapter that contrasts with the colour you got, so it sort of stands, gives you
red or blue. I think blue would stick out quite a lot. Ultramarines blue would stick out a fair bit.
Everyone loves a dead ultramarine.
This is true.
Even other marine players love a dead ultramarine, don't they?
True. Everyone loves a good dead ultramarine. The only thing better than a dead ultramarine is a dying one telling you where to find his mates.
Yeah.
Happy days.
Amen to that.
He's even got the horns. Yeah, it's. I like when you start painting something and you're like, oh, all right, there's these details here and those details. How am I going to do that? So now I'm looking at this and I'm going, well, how am I going to do? I'm going to have to do the metals next. I need to decide what color I'm going to paint his shirt. You were saying you do blacks quite a bit there. Blacks against yellows.
Shirts I quite often go with a bone colour. I use for like if they're wearing like t-shirts and stuff, I tend to go for skeleton bone. So I give them so it's like a dirty white, tend to give them like that kind of very very light beige colour for like if they got straps around their wrist, I quite often use that, or t-shirts and stuff.
Dust. I use Zandri Dust quite a lot on me.
Yeah, that sort of colour. Yeah, that'd probably be the sort of colour I'd go for a
Look at it,
t-shirt.
look at this bastard separating. Look at this shit. Throw in a Zandri Dust. Red. Total T, being on call out to fix a mate's motorbike. You know it's stressful when you go through a pack of 20 and an 8-pack of Monster. Come home and see this. Gives me a great opportunity to relax. Grand stuff. Total T. I approve of the name.
Fuck me, must be buzzing his tits off.
20-pack. Good, yeah.
Jeez.
Chill, grab a brush, join in, or just chill and listen.
He'll be awake for weeks, won't he?
And days on end. Hoovering cowboy killers into himself and cans of Monster. Jesus, bud. I mean, there's living the fast life, and then there's that.
Oh.
Right, so we're going to throw some Zandri Dust on for a short. That's what we'll go for. And we'll clean out the water again. Yay! So it's not absolutely terrible. I do realise, you see why my desk just becomes more and more of a mess if I'm doing any hobby at all. Mucking around.
I cleared mine off. I gave it a full tidy the other day, but very slowly. It doesn't take long. A couple of paint sections turns into a pig. I get so quick.
This is a new pot of Zandri Dust. I'm not opening that. I should have more. There you go. See, look, loads of pots of Zandri Dust. There's a couple of pots GW paints that I know I use a lot of. So Zandri Dust is one of them because I use it a lot on the clothing. Eshin Grey is another one I use because that's the base colour, and I use it on clothing for my my blood axes as well. And then Death World Forest is another one I use a lot of because it's the base colour for the orcish skin that I do. But I like Dryad Bark as well. This is good for leathers. I was trying, I think it's like a bubonic brown or something it's called, but they looked a bit too snake bite. So I like going with the leather being darker because visually it doesn't, it's more like a dark chocolate than like a milk chocolate colour. Because when I was doing me Mob of 30 Shooter Boys, I found that as soon as I did the letters too light in colour, they started looking like snake bites because a lot of the tone I go for is sort of like a neutral tone. Because they're neutral greys and sort of beige colours and stuff. So if the leather is overpowering,
doesn't look like I've made much progress during the stream because I've literally just been painting back over the skin, just giving it a second coat, and so he still doesn't look much different. I was just getting, give us a look, just more green on him, going back over it. So I'm liking the way he's coming along.
Yeah, it's looking good, man.
He's such a handsome fella, I tell you. I love him.
He's looking good. That he is.
Yeah.
That's the recipe. The Flash uses the vibrated super speed through time. Review the Discord work in progress and let Stevo get off. Oh, this Discord work in progress. I use the Discord quite a lot now for the chat, so I'll have to engineer a way to check out the work in progress, so there won't be any one tonight. But I will crack on with painting this Zandri Dust on his shirt.
I've just twigged at what Dred's saying as well.
Yeah, and we'll probably call it a day. What red is that, Stevo? So Tommy Grimbooter is asking what the red is.
The red is it's called Crusted Saw. It's like a really dark red. I think it's probably on the camera because of the big lighting. It's probably looking a bit more red than it is. But it's a very sort of a brownish red, like a dark
terracotta
red
sort of color, is it?
It's quite it's a very, very, very dark red. It looks sort of like dried blood, I guess makes sense to the name Crusted Saw. But yeah, it will look when I've gone in with like the highlights and stuff, it will be more brown. I'm going to sort of build up to sort of a beigey brown. I don't know, sort of similar to the jumper I'm wearing. I guess it'll end up, but it'll have the red sort of showing through, and that is kind of what I'm going to go for. I just want sort of pick out some colours on there and that. But it's just nice to get different colours, something,
helpful if I
different
put the
from
close
the,
cam up. Yeah, there you go.
where I'm always painting green, black, and yellow. It's nice to get an excuse to get a different colour in there. But don't worry, there will be plenty of yellow on him as well once I get the
Yeah,
armor
throw
bits
up.
done.
If people can't see the color through the live stream, feel free to throw up one in the orc in progress. Like I said, I'll have to sort out the hobby hangouts in future.
Right, I say that. Well, mind you, it's gone blue again. Look, that's it on the camera now. That tongue looks blue. Looks really
Yeah, it
blue.
looks
It's
like
not blue.
it looks like a Fenris grey or something
I'm
from
looking
here.
at it here. It's like it is as purple as you can get. Like I'm looking at it now here. It's purple. It's like a Gene Stealer purple.
Are we
And
talking
on
like
camera.
Barney the dinosaur purple? Are we?
And what's the color called? Warlock purple, I think it's called.
right.
No, alien purple. Alien purple. And even the bottle looks blue. I mean, what the fuck? I don't know what this camera's doing. It's
There's
not
no
blue.
winning.
It's purple.
We'll take
I'll
you
take a
one.
photo. I'll take a photo of it. So, but yeah,
Grand. So
I'll
I think
build that up so it's more of a lighter purpley sort of thing. But yeah,
I think it's coming along. Like I said, I'm gonna have to chop and change this gun a bit and decide what way to do it. But it is coming along nicely. That wash, I think, sort of helped a lot. And then we'll stipple in some colours, some metals. We'll put a bit of yellow in for the bad moon. The pants.
you're welcome, Tommy. You're welcome. Glad I could help, mate. He says, "Oh, I have that one," so he's pleased he's got that colour.
It's nice.
Yeah, it's lovely. It's the first time I've ever used it. I mean, I've had it for a fucking couple of years now and never used it. I'm just like, it's nice to be using a load of paints I've never used before.
Definitely. Right. So we've reached 11 bells, and instead of getting Stevo into trouble, or myself for that matter, we're going to call it a day. I don't know about Stevo, but I will bounce over into the Discord. Dreadwire Gaming has put one in the live chat there, so I'll bounce over into the Discord in about a half an hour, and I'll keep painting this wire banner knob. Show up any images that you have in the work in progress. We're not going to be reviewing and looking at people's work in progress during the stream tonight. I'll need to sort that out because I call people on Discord now, so it's mucking around during the live stream. But I'll sort something out in future. And yeah, we'll call it a night at that one. So I got a bit of progress done. You got a bit done yourself there, Stevo?
Yeah, I got quite a bit done. And actually, considering I'm on the stream, which usually I don't make a lot of progress. I remember when you said to me, you said, look, my guest can't make it. Can you fill in? I was like, I was hoping I was planning to get a lot of progress done because I always get loads done when I'm just listening to these. When I'm on them, I get less done. But no, sorry, people. I haven't read many of your comments today because I've been focused and just cracking on. But yeah, old fella here, he's coming along, and I do. Yeah, I'm loving him even more now. I'm getting some paint on him.
Well, it looks good, man. Yeah, it looks good. It looks good. I'll look at the images later. Yeah, so happy days. If you're not subscribed to Stevo and you haven't watched this channel, I'd be like, well, if you're into orcs, what rock are you living under?
Sort your fucking shit out. Yeah.
What are you doing with your life? Like,
I don't know how to tell you this, people, but kind of a big deal,
He is the big deal. Yeah, so you'll find us. We do the war bosses. We've a joint channel with Dread and Dim as well. We do that the first of every month. We have an episode coming out. Myself and Stevo do an infrequent show called The Two Bald Knobs, which we need to get on soon enough and do something with.
We do a show called Bald Knobs, allegedly.
Allegedly. All in good time. But yeah, you can find us. So, there's the 40KR community. There's links in the description below. There'll be links to Stevo's channel if you're not already subscribed to him. And his channel is hosted on the main page of my YouTube channel. You'll find them in the recommended channels as well. You'll find them there. So thanks for coming on, Stevo. It's been great crack. Thanks for everyone for joining.
Anytime.
And we'll catch you in 2 weeks' time. So that's goodbye from Scarn here and saying don't forget to drill your barrels.
And I guess I'm signing out.
Take it easy, guys.